Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around and watching the content. Before we get in, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel if you enjoy non-biased election content. Okay, so let's get into it. You may have recalled the last video. I did a sort of like a prediction or a map of what would be the best case scenario for the Democrats at the U.S. Senate level. But we have to do it for both sides, so today's video will be the best case scenario for the Republicans. This would assume that they kind of match like their 2024 margins, or even do slightly better. They just seem to get the momentum, and Democrats kind of like have their version of 2022, where they would underperform expectations. These videos that I make, like best case scenarios, I try to keep them in reason. Like kind of like I don't have South Dakota flipping Democrat, and I wouldn't have Illinois flipping Republican, right? I try to keep these videos in reason. Obviously, the side that the best case scenario is on, in this case, the Republicans, would do pretty well. But this is obviously within reason. I try to make these videos somewhat reasonable. So, without further ado, let's get to the states that would still be safe Democratic regardless of the outcome. I don't see these states being competitive even in the best case Republican scenario. New Mexico would be safe Democratic. Republicans are not running a candidate this election, so by default, safe Democratic. Delaware is safe. Massachusetts is safe. New Jersey is safe. And I could see New Jersey going likely. Since this is the best case scenario, I will have it go likely, but it'll probably be just shy of under 10. Kind of similar in the Democrat best case scenario, Lindsey Graham would win by just barely under 10. In reversed, Cory Booker would win just barely under 10 in this scenario. So I'm probably just going to bump that down just barely into likely territory. That's probably about it for safe Democratic. Safe Republican, you would have Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida for special election, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. That should be about it for the safe Republican states. Likely Democratic, as go along with Jersey. Colorado would probably just be, again, just barely under 10, probably be like 9.5 point win for the Democrats. This would be if whoever the Republicans end up running does a good enough job, and the Democrat would not gain enough momentum. I think it's I forget which senator is running there, but he should probably win. Oregon, again, probably 9 point victory. And Virginia, this is tricky because it was thought of as to be a competitive state, especially when you had Youngkin as their governor. It's hard to say, honestly. Probably Warner is a strong incumbent. He probably went around 7 or 8. Whoever Republicans end up winning, but that'd be likely. Illinois would be likely. And I'd say Minnesota would also be likely. I could see it get into lean territory, which I probably would just throw in, since this is the Republican best case scenario. But that'd probably be about it right now. The lean states, likely Republican states, would be, I'd say Iowa would probably end up being safe. Likely Republican states, Maine, Susan Collins, the Republican incumbent senator, would probably win re-election by around the same margin that she won in 2020, which is around 9 points. I could see it going over 10, but I just don't think it would happen. Even in the best case scenario, I think she would probably win by around 8 or 9 in the state of Maine. Another likely Democrat state would be Ohio. I think Alaska is going to be safe in this scenario, even with Peltola running, just because it's the Republican best case scenario. Ohio, likely. I really can't see it go up to safe because Democrats are running Sherrod Brown. The race itself seems to be competitive right now, but likely Republican would be how Ohio would vote, probably by around 8 or 9 in this scenario. You'd see John Husted, the incumbent senator appointed by Governor DeWine, should probably win by a decent margin, given the circumstances. Now we'll move on to the lean states, which we'll start off with Michigan. This is probably the most likely to go Republican, even out of the top swing races, even in a normal environment. However, in this case, Republican Mike Rogers would win. We would assume that the Democratic primary would really weaken the candidate, whoever they end up putting up, and Mike Rogers would find a way to win, probably by around 1 or 2 points. In Michigan, this would be their first win in this state since the last century. Republicans haven't won a state senate race here, despite it being a relatively purple state. Democrats haven't really lost a senate race here, but this would be the time that would happen. And then we would have North Carolina. This would be a Republican hold. Michael Whatley would probably win by around 2 points. Kind of similar to what Tillis went by. Republicans usually get underestimated in the polls anyway, so I expect this race to be somewhat closer than what the polls have. Democrats are probably favored to win this, but again, in this scenario, Republicans would win. North Carolina would definitely go Republican because Donald Trump did win the state, no doubt about it. We also have Georgia. This is kind of hard to say because Ossoff seems to be a strong incumbent, but I'd say he'd just narrowly go down by around 1 point. In Georgia, I'd say probably Mike Collins would be the nominee. He'd be able to get through the primary and have enough funding and backing to be able to take him down. So you'd probably be able to have that as well in the Republican best case scenario. And then the real true toss-up, probably the one race that would really be a true nail-biter in this environment, would be New Hampshire. Republicans are running John Sununu, the brother of former Governor Chris Sununu. It's a pretty big, well-known family in New Hampshire, so they typically do well. Democrats are running Chris Pappas. This would definitely be in the tilt column. You could make a case that in this environment, it'd be tilt Democratic, or it would even be tilt Republican. It's really, really hard to say how this race would go. I'm personally leaving it at tilt Republican, given that Pappas is ahead by around 5 points, 4 or 5 points in the regular polling. You'd see coattails from Kelly Ayotte because she is the Republican governor, and most analysts agree that she's probably going to win by a lot. We would assume that those coattails would just barely drag Sununu over the finish line. So you'd see New Hampshire probably go Republican by a tilt margin. But again, just like the Democrat best case scenario, this is the Republican best case scenario. So these don't reflect the actual predictions or environment that is setting up to be. But just for the content of it, this is the Republican best case scenario. You'd see them expand their majority. Again, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.